All right, everybody, welcome back to Clark's Place. Today we are going to start doing the 69 Dodge Charger 148th scale, I believe is what the O scale train cars are. So you can see I've got it set up here. I've alluded to it in another train video, but basically to make this the same as my 69 Charger in the other room that's life scale, I've got to scuff all this, paint it white base coat, tape those stripes off, and then paint it my Charger red. And then I think I need to do a little detail work on the motor and do the interior white, and then it'll be pretty darn close. The only thing I can't probably get is that Charger logo on the sail panel there represented, but there might be something with the Cricut that I can do that I might be able to make something happen with that. But you can see I've got bumper there that I might have to do. Oh, it's got the taillights already done. Dash, I might do some detail stuff. The windshield I'm going to put out of the way, but doors, I think I'll just spray the whole door and then come back in with just a paintbrush and do the door handles. And there's the front grille. I've got it taped off so it doesn't get overspray. And then the hood pins on this here, I will come back in with gray after. Same with the gas cap there, and the reflectors is I'll come back in with paint after. So, and around the windshield and rear window there, it's got gray for chrome. So I might have some chrome paint that I'll throw on that too. So that'll be the start of this, and we'll see how it ends up going. The gun that I use for most of the stuff is that Iwata Eclipse HPCS. That's been my standard go-to airbrush. And I got a couple cheapy guys here. I think that gold one there was maybe like, I don't know, 45, 50 bucks online. I think it was a nail spraying, and it's worked decent. That's a little guy with a little cup just for just testing out different airbrush guns. That's a master airbrush right there. But after trying some cheapy ones, trying some different things, I think I've gone through a couple cheapy ones that I basically threw in the trash after using them the very first time. I always go back to this. I really want, I think this was I don't know, I think when I bought it maybe 5 or 6 years ago, that was maybe 300 bucks, and there's another Iwata that comes with in a red hard case that it's about, I think it's $5.99, and I've yet to put it in my mind that I need that for just hobby stuff. But there's extra needles there, extra long cord, and then what I use that with is I bought this compressor. I might have gotten the compressor and kit. This is Studio Series Iwata. It's a super quiet little compressor that that does a good job. And this is the actual Iwata gun. And I put a quick disconnect on it, and then so this is the quick disconnect. You just basically you can just push it on, and it's connected. So. We'll get the car set up here. I like to work on a clean workstation, so we'll get the parts that I'm going to spray. We'll get those out here and get them set up, and then I'll probably use some tweezers or something like this to grab Hote and do some base coat white with some pearl. That's a color that this is kind of a test for the paint that I'm going to paint the real car. So I'm going to see how these colors look together, how they match up, how they work, and how the tape works as well. That's the tape that I'm going to use to tape off the detail graphics for the bumblebee stripe for the rear. On this is the same tape that I'm going to use to tape the lines on the car. So I'll see how it peels off. So I'll make a car that goes on the train that looks exactly like my car that hopefully I'm gonna make look as good as this little baby in real life. So all right, here I am basically taking a piece of Scotch-Brite pad. I don't know if it was an old pad or what, but running it over the surface of that, and as I started to scuff the paint, I just noticed a green residue that it was leaving, so I switched to the sandpaper here, and I'm just using the same sandpaper that I would on the car. I've got a 300 grit sandpaper, 320, and just going around each of the spots just like I would the car. It's goes a lot faster than the car, of course, but just taking and hitting the fenders there, just going, and you'll start to see that I'm really scuffing into it, taking off all the paint. And I think I scratched off the fender marker lights there, and then when I was doing the sail there, I was kind of scuffing that little Charger emblem on the sail panel was just, I don't know if it was screen printed or what, but it just came right off. It wasn't a sticker or anything, so like I say, I think later in the video I say something about miniatures. I don't know how miniatures work. I don't know how people can paint in such detail. I mean, this is O scale, and there's HO and N, 2 scales lower than this, that people do really detailed work. So if you know an answer on how to do that stuff, definitely email me at ClarksPlace@yahoo.com. That'd be awesome. I want to get into doing some of that stuff. I just did a Cricut cutout for a logo for the building on the train track, and turned out really nice, but still want to be able to do some really tiny painting. And here I'm taking and I'm just sanding the door, and it's a weird consistency, that paint. I mean, it is globbed on there. I don't know what, if they're dipped or what, but the paint sanded pretty smooth there. You can see the roof. I've got it sanded down almost like if you're block sanding a real car. You can tell that you've got different layers. And then I picked up the body there, or actually the interior, the bottom of the car, and scuffed up kind of the interior. I didn't want to sand it too much because I didn't want to actually degrade some of the details, but grabbed some thinner there. I did one of the doors, did the hood, and then you can see all the yellow paint. It's just really taken all that stuff off. So cleaned it all real good, and yeah, got it all set. You can see it's really down quite a bit there, and then I'll jump in. I think I wanted to start spraying some white here, so there we go. I decided not to do the base coat primer. I decided just to paint it white with the pearl that's going to be the stripe. Figured primer and all that might build up too much, because all I have is high build primer. That primer might build it up too much. Alright, so continuing to spray here. I was just talking about the primer, and I'm certain that would have just really filled in all of the cracks and crevices that make up the body lines of that car, and I didn't want it to just be a blob sitting there in the shape of a Dodge Charger. So just opted for that pearl white. I've got white base coat that I'm using and just adding some pearl in it. And I need to figure out a better light to use, because I'm using that Milwaukee little floodlight, and it just washes out the contrast there. But basically taking and prepping a car just like I would the car in the other room. It's got I did some 2000 sandpaper and just kind of trying to get some of that trash out of it, just working the sail panel. I think I mentioned there was a little bit of trash in there. I don't know why that collected trash, but later when spraying the red, I've got trash in the red area as well. So the 3M little Fineline tape, that is what I plan on using to tape the edges in the real car. So that's what I throw over the base of this after I'm spraying, getting it all coated white real good. And you can see the doors and hood there, they're still yellow, but just getting in the detail. There was a little bit there in the engine compartment that wasn't quite coated, so I'm using this white base coat as kind of a primer, and also the pearl stripe. So there's some white going on the hood there. And grab the door, did it, and then just really doing a once over. That's a tack rag that you use for automotive to just attract all of the dust, and I went over all of that. Now I'm starting the masking process here, and using that little fine tape. It stuck pretty good to the plastic, stuck really good to the metal body, and I just threw a few stripes on there, just used some regular masking tape there to mask off those areas, and did a pretty good job getting all that stuff squared away. And then you can see me just kind of pushing in. I've got a little poker, and I'm just kind of adjusting that tape, trying to get it nestled right up under the seats, right along the edge of the console, right before I go spraying it white. So pretty much everything but those seats and the front buckets and the back seat were all covered for the most part. And then when I unmask it here in a little bit, there's a little bit of overspray that on that plastic you could just kind of almost scratch it off, between lacquer thinner and the little scratching that I would do, it would just come right off. So there's the first kind of unmasking there. I waited way less time than you should probably, and there I am kind of scratching at it. I think I got a little toothpick or something there that I'm just kind of scratching at it and getting it all cleaned up, getting little places that you don't have a perfect seal on that tape. Paint finds its way through, so it has a little bit of overspray there on the wheel that I'm scratching off, and all that's pretty well squared away. And then here's a shot of the finished product without the light shining on it. You can see the contrast is much better there, and good even coverage of everything. And we're back to some live audio here. Alright, so here is where the model is. I have the V21 hood stripe taped off. I've got the white door panels on the inside taped off. I probably spent the entire time Dad was doing that mountain taping this off. And then the cowl stays white on the car, and then the white bumblebee stripe. So the width of that tape, I think, was just about the exact perfect size.
I hope people don't think you're crazy to be taking all the time.
Well, I may be.
Oh, you're crazy then.
You have a perfect Shelby GT500 in your garage, and you have one for the train trek. So I'm having my perfect 440 4-speed Dodge Charger for the train trek, painted just like my car. So
yep.
We'll see. Next cut will be to I'm gonna mix up some red, and then we will get the thing in red, and then we'll mix up some clear possibly in a little bit, and then get some thing in clear. All right, here basically it's just a small little section that I was debating on fast forwarding everything through all of the color. This was just, I picked the door to start spraying first to see how the red would cover on the white, and just doing a little test spray out, and it started to look pretty good. Got it spraying good enough that I was confident to move on to the next section, and gained enough confidence doing both the doors there that I was ready to start tackling the main body, and knew that it was going to spray down there right. And I sloshed paint everywhere there. All right, how to paint again. Man, drinking the paint. Glad I mixed up as much as I did here. All right. Seems to be painting pretty good. Let's paint the body. Put a cap on so I don't slosh something somewhere I don't want it. trash in the sail panel there. Alright, got a good base of red on it, so I'm putting a pretty wet coat on now. I think that'd be it. So, I still have red paint, so I think I will let that dry, and then maybe do a little bit of a color sand on it. I can see a dimple in the top I don't really like, but what are you gonna do? Should have gotten, there's a little dimple right there that should have come out in sanding, but it didn't. And a little bit of trash in there. I can just see it right there. Not perfect, but I'm gonna be happy when I take that off and that's still white and we clear this. Maybe I'll put the clear on thick enough it'll fill a little bit of those crevices. We'll see. One more coat of red here and we'll call it good for red. That's the last of the paint mixed. Alright, let that dry in the breeze for a second. Dry enough to set down, I think. Grab another door. Loving that. Loving that. Alright, let's do another pass on the old charger body here. Sweet. I put enough paint on it. Filled in the dimple a little bit. pretty red all over. Alright, gonna let that baby cure. Looks pretty good. Then we'll demask it. We'll spray some clear. I'm gonna clean up my gun in the process, so. Okay, we're gonna attempt to demask. It's been maybe 5 minutes or so-ish. So I'm gonna take off the mask. It's not tacky or anything, so I'm gonna attempt to take off the mask inside the door panel area here and see what that looks like. I got a little overspray into it. Overall, like I said in another video, or maybe this same video, I'm recording this over a couple days. Pretty good white panel there. So what I said I was doing this for is also a test for the actual paints that I'm going to use to paint the car, to see how this tape does as far as taping and pulling lines. And it's actually doing really well. So yeah, I got a couple like issue spots I think with my tape job, but overall I can't really complain about the tape. You can see I got a little bit of orange down in there. That's totally my bad for my tape job, so I'm not gonna fault the tape at all. Now my favorite, let's see how this guy did. Oh, a little overspray into it there. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is a pretty good white stripe on there. Maybe a little bit of a touch-up. You can see where it, just on the corners, you can see where a little bit of red got in. I might touch that up with a little bit of white and call it good. I knew I was gonna have that up here by these windshield wipers in this cowl area. So I knew I was gonna have, I did not get the best seal, but that's not too bad. So I can touch up a little bit, make that actually, it isn't really a V, it kind of comes out a little farther in real life, but for taping off purposes, I just wanted a straight little line. So I'm gonna let this be and let you sit there. That looks pretty darn nice. And then let's take off the hood treatment here. That tape feels pretty darn good. I think when I do my car, oh, it just has a little bit of, there's a red. Oh, you know what? That might be part of the tape residue. Oh, it just peeled up just a smidge of paint right there. You can see that center just pulled up a little bit of paint, but I'm thinking it's too green. I could feel it when you touched paint to paint, it wanted to actually stick. So next stage, do a little touch up and then clear the bad boy. A little bit of trash in that sail, like I said, so I might try to color sand that just a little bit and then just cake the whole thing in clear. So I'm really liking that. That's gonna be awesome. And if anybody watching the video knows how I can make a tiny little RT to put in there, definitely let me know, because the miniature stuff, I know I've seen miniature things that people do, but I haven't done any myself. So yeah, windshield wipers will be painted silver and a little chrome trim around the wheel wells and stuff, and we be jamming. So I am very pleased with how the tape pulled and the line that it left. You can see that there's a pretty straight white line on the back of that. And on an automobile, that's gonna be just dandy. So until the next section, bye-bye. Okay, so got some clear mixed up. Got the car. I just touched up some white. And we're going to attempt to throw some clear on, so we will see how this works. I'm going to start with a door that has white paint, touch-up paint on the inside, just to see how this does. Well, I don't see any crazy chemical reactions, so and a little hair under the door handle. I missed it. That looks pretty darn nice. It might be one coat and done on this thing. Pretty dandy. All right, we'll do the hood. It's on there pretty good. A nice thick coat. Getting sticky. Now we got the car. Looks pretty darn shiny. I'm gonna say I love that. Hopefully no trash gets in it. I will try to tuck it up underneath there so no dust settles on it. we'll just leave him in there for the next hour. See how she does. Alright, that should be it. I'll snap back a little later once we've got all the clear dry, and we'll see how she looks assembled. Or I'll do assembly too. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, here we go. I'm breaking out a little Q-tip there and just running with a little thinner, just trying to clean up some of the white overspray that got in a couple little spots there in the interior. And starting assembly, and I ran into some issues. It's like I put the cart before the horse. So with a lot of things that you do is starting to put one thing on and then saw that it should go on a different way. So this is kind of me muddling through. The tiny little screws kept on falling off. It's a magnetic screwdriver I'm using there, and it just kept falling off. The little washer kept flying. So this is a combination of me test fitting some things, and then I think that I got halfway into it and realized that I didn't actually have the chrome trim painted. So I test fitted everything there, threw the windshield in, and I think that just test fit and see how the glass goes in. I wasn't really thrilled with how the glass was sticking down there, and did some taped off the windshield so I didn't get any glue on it, and just kind of pushed that down to where the window was actually pushing out and looked good. It just kind of recessed down in there when you looked at it from the top, and I didn't like how that windshield looked there. So pushing it down, gluing it down, and then test fitting the rear bumper there. That was kind of the same thing from the factory. It just had been glued from the backside, and it had a couple pins that just pushed through that were kind of, I don't really think they were glued. It was almost like it was melted into place. So had to push that out and bring it back in, and once it was back in through those holes, I touched it up with a little glue. Here I'm using that little cleaning Q-tip and just putting some Hemi orange for the Hemi air breather there, and then I did a little chrome paint there, or some pearl silver. Just did the tops of the radiator, did the four kind of where the spark plugs go through the hemispherical heads there, and there I am just kind of looping and doing each of the wheel wells. I didn't do as drastic. It's kind of over exaggerated. They look almost like fender flares on the quarters there and on the fenders. Really big that it would be way overstated on the model there. So I just kind of did a stripe on them, so it's just subtle. It's there, but it's not really in your face. And there I'm doing the hood pins. I think I did the mirror already that was mounted on the door, and then I'm going along, and the stripe around the windshield and the stripe around the chrome around the windshield and the chrome around the rear window, I had to do with the windows out. So took the tape off and just kind of doing the windshield wipers there with the chrome, just dotting and spreading. That little Q-tip thing does a really good job, and touching up around that rear window there a little bit more. And then looks like it just a little bit. As I looked at it from the top, I could see where the wheel wells needed a little bit more. So did a little white, did a little chrome, did a little everything, and kind of putting it all back together. The windshield went back in there again, and I was pretty happy finally. I was almost thinking I wanted to heat up the window and kind of spread it out a little bit so it actually filled that gap a little better. And then this jumps to the next day. I think I was letting some of that stuff dry and getting her squared away. It comes together quick once all the pieces are done, and pretty and nice. So thanks for watching. All right. That's it after it's all said and done. Hopefully you can see the shine. As I turn it, you can see the lights in the ceiling there. All shiny, all nice. I haven't done the reflectors yet. I don't think I'm gonna bother, because I'm just gonna paint over. There's really none on the front, and there's just that little bitty one in the back. So I don't think I'm gonna bother with it. Put some different wheels on it, but I haven't decided if I'm putting the magnums that I got on my car, if I'm gonna actually put them on the real car or not. So that would be it for the Charger. I don't know if you'd call it a restoration. It was already restored, it just needed to be changed. So let's see if we can get the hood popped up here. Oh yeah, motor looks pretty good. Looks like a 426 Hemi sitting in there. And then there's the interior. Did a little gray on the dash and stuff like that. But that's how she looks, all said and done. I'm pleased with it. So we'll put this will go on the train board. Next to my dad's. So his car is done. He has that exact car in his garage, and I will have that one before long. So another car for the train board. Yeah, I like that. Looks good. I can't believe there was a time when those cars were just driving around brand new, sitting next to a building. Pretty cool. Alright. The Charger is now part of the trains. Yeah. Alright. That's all for now. Bye-bye.